Hello beautiful people of the internet, welcome back to my channel, and today we're doing a very exciting video because it's the first story time on my channel. And Max says hi too. Hi, I'm Max. So cute. So Max wasn't part of the story time, but he's gonna be sitting in while I tell it. So I hope you guys enjoy. Make sure you smash that like button and make sure you subscribe. And comment down below your road trip adventures. My home, my friends, my family, and the state in which I was born and raised. Crazy, right? So let's rewind a little bit and do a little bit of a backstory. So Jimmy's job, and he wasn't in the company for very long. Honestly, he's probably coming up on his 1-year anniversary in a few months, I want to say. And they're opening up an office out here in SoCal. And they asked him if he wanted to come out and help manage it and whatever else they wanted him to do, I don't even know. And he was like, yeah, of course, it's an opportunity of a lifetime. And mind you, he found out maybe 3 months or so before our lease was up at our old place. And you need to give a 60-day notice for when you're moving. So, me being me, I'm an organized planner. So I'm not type A, but in that kind of situation, obviously, I'm gonna be a very type A organized person. And I'm like, okay, well, you need to find out. You need to find out, like, it needs to be set in stone, because we can't just give a notice and then take it back if someone rented our apartment as part of the policy of where we were living. And so I immediately start like researching hitches and trailers and trucks, like what's the cheapest option, the best route to take, because we weren't gonna fly, we couldn't afford it. And so I'm immediately already starting packing, went to Home Depot, got a whole bunch of boxes, packed everything. Jimmy had nothing to do with all the packing process, which I wouldn't want him to help anyway, because like, I'd be like, you're doing it wrong. I know how to pack a box and how to like pack the fragile stuff correctly. So fast forward to when everything is set in stone. So I'm like, oh, thank God, I'm already started. And we just start the road trip. We got a 5x8 trailer, and mind you, Jimmy has an 09 Nissan Altima. Yeah, so we started our trip. It's great. Day one was beautiful Tennessee. So we went all through Virginia and into Tennessee, and we stopped in Nashville. So Tennessee is gorgeous. It has the beautiful mountains, the scenery, the greenery, and everyone there is just, you know, really nice. So it was beautiful. And then day two, we went through Nashville, we went through all of Arkansas, and Lord, I have one word to say about Arkansas. Flat nothingness. I was bored. Jimmy and I were like, what do people do here? And yes, I know it was like on I-40, so when you're on the highway, there's nothing around you, but there was like no billboards. I was like, we're in a desert wasteland. I actually saw tumbleweeds. Like, I've never saw a tumbleweed except like in movies and stuff for that dramatic effect. And so I never thought they actually would roll across the highway. They rolled across the damn highway. I was like, where the hell am I? Where are you taking me? What is going on with my life right now? But we ended up passing all through Arkansas that day, and we stopped in Oklahoma City. And I loved Oklahoma City. It was beautiful. I loved our hotel. I mean, it was gorgeous. I have nothing bad to say about it. Day two, we left our hotel in Oklahoma City, and we drove through Amarillo. And let me tell you, from Oklahoma City through Amarillo and then stopping in New Mexico was so stressful in terms of gas, because at one point, like, you need to either get gas before you hit Amarillo, or you need to plan it, because there are no gas stations right off the highway. Like, you'd have to get out of the highway and go into city. But with a car with a 5x8 trailer, that wasn't really in the cards for us, especially considering Jimmy has never driven trailer before, and it's like tractor trailer style, like, you know, where you have to reverse, you have to turn your wheel the opposite way, so yeah, we weren't doing that. We had to find a gas station like right off the highway so we can go right back into the highway. And so we had to plan it. So me on my phone, we had to like check the GPS. Like I'd search like what's the next one ahead, and then what's the like one after that. I'm like, okay, so even if our tank wasn't even halfway done, we would still get gas, so we don't have to stress about it. And Amarillo, flat, nothing. Literally, like no billboards. It was like Arkansas, but it was like much shorter length of the trip because day 2 we drove all through Arkansas. This is just a little tip of Texas, that where Amarillo is. And then we stopped in New Mexico, in Albuquerque. And let me tell you, New Mexico is gorgeous. The mountains, the rocks, just, I mean, right off the highway, it's gorgeous. All the different, the deep reds and the browns and the coppers, and there's even some blues. It was gorgeous. Like I took maybe a few pictures. I don't really remember because I know we were using my phone mainly for the GPS. But oh my God, guys, it was breathtaking. Even if I did take pictures, doesn't even do it justice. But it was so cool because there were so many statues and like restaurants like near where our hotel was that has so much of the Mexican culture with it, and it was just so beautiful. But this state of New Mexico caused us some trouble. So as I mentioned, he has an 09 Nissan with a 5x8 trailer that we packed fully. So New Mexico, as gorgeous as it is very hilly. So, and we kind of had an inkling because when we were in Tennessee and we were up in the mountains, his car was struggling, but we're like, you know what, it's just a trailer, no big deal. And I had no idea that New Mexico had so many hills, and some of them are very steep. Jimmy's car could not make it up the hill. I mean, it did, obviously, we got here, but it like wouldn't go past 40. Like his foot would be all the way on that accelerator and it would not go past 40. And he had to have his hazards on to let everyone know, like, hey, I'm going slow. And the speed limit on I-40 in New Mexico is like 75. And we're going 40. We're like the grandmas of the road. It was so bad and so embarrassing. And I'm stressing out like, oh God, our car's gonna break down. We're gonna be on the side of the road. We're gonna have to hitchhike. Like, what in the hell are we gonna do? And there's like no cell service either, mind you. Like, I'm so surprised our GPS was working, because when we were on either my phone or his phone that wasn't being used as the GPS, no cell service. Couldn't go on Instagram, couldn't go on Snapchat, couldn't text anybody because we had no service. So when we stopped at our hotel, thank God we got to the hotel before it got dark. That's all I was praying for. Like, please, Lord, we need to get to the hotel before dark because there's no lights on the highway. And I would be stressed as hell. So we got to the hotel. We found the nearest U-Haul. We had to get a truck. Yep, you heard me right, a truck. We became truck drivers, okay? Well, he did. I was just the passenger. We had to get the truck. And mind you, we got there maybe around 5 or 6, and I needed a minute just to chill in the hotel room, just to relax. I was shooketh during that last leg of the trip into frickin' New Mexico and to our hotel. So we took maybe an hour to chill at the hotel room. We found the nearest U-Haul, and it was like maybe right before they're closed. So that's like one more thing where like, we gotta go. And I had to call ahead of time to let them know we need a truck, I'm gonna return my trailer, this, that, and the third. Like, those of you who've rented a U-Haul, you know the whole situation on returning and all that. So you know what I'm talking about. So I got all that situated. We went there and it's starting to get dark, and we have a 5x8 trailer full, and we got the smallest truck they offer because we've never driven a truck before. They don't help us, unload it and load it back in the truck. Jimmy and I had to do that ourselves. And so we're like a bucket brigade, like just pushing everything out of that trailer, and he's taking everything into the truck. Like, God bless Jimmy, because I was like looking at him like, who are you? You're like Superman right now. Like, I don't know how fast, like how you're going this fast. And we had a lot of heavy stuff. And so we got the truck, and then we had to get a tow dolly to tow his car. So it's like another trailer, but then it was a lot, and it was stressful, and it was dark. And we're like, oh God, how are we gonna get back? Because where this U-Haul place was like right off of a main road. So it's not like we had some time to easily go into the street. It was like, okay, it's clear, we gotta go. Like any other place you get out when it's like on a main street. And Jimmy is like, and when Jimmy is like stressed, you can't talk to him. You need to be quiet so he can focus. And I mean, those seats were comfortable, like the truck was fine, we got used to it and everything, but it's the same thing when you're trying to reverse. You have to turn the wheels the opposite way you want the trailer, or in this case the tow dolly with the car, to go. So if you want it to go, have the car go right, you need to turn your wheels left. Yeah, it was a lot. So we avoided reversing this entire trip. I don't know how we did it, but we did it. We never had to reverse once. And then that day 3, we went from our hotel in Albuquerque all the way to, I think it was Tempe, Arizona, if I'm saying that right. I have no idea. I'm sorry if I'm not. Same thing, hills. And I swear to Lord Jesus that the hills progressively got steeper and became more frequent than it did when we were going into Albuquerque. So Jimmy and I were joking and like saying, oh, thank God we got this truck when we did, because we knew, just by seeing, because you would go up on the hill, you see like 3 more ahead of you in the horizon. We were like, thank God we got this truck when we did, because the car wouldn't have made it. No doubt about it. The car would either break down, and you can kind of hear it struggling as we were driving on a hill. But when it was like, we had to even at one point stop, turn off the car and let it rest for like 5 minutes and then turn it back on to drive, before we got the truck. But Arizona, I mean, same thing. It's gorgeous. Like the scenery is beautiful. And what's funny is, even though Arizona and New Mexico look the same in terms of like landscape and stuff, it's a very different vibe, if that makes sense. Like New Mexico, I don't know, it felt like more at home and like earthy, like more of I think it's because of that cultural mix, which made it so like homey and like rich, if that makes sense. But Arizona was like gorgeous. It was more like city, like kind of almost reminded me of DC in a way, like where I was in Northern Virginia, kind of reminded me of that DC, like everything's new and built up, like new businesses, I mean, gorgeous, nice, like family oriented, but I also thought business with it, and I have no idea about why. But we went to Arizona, it was gorgeous, scenery again was gorgeous, and then day 4 was our last leg of the trip. So we went all the way from Tempe, Arizona to Irvine, California. And we stopped in a hotel in Irvine too. And mind you, each day of these trips, I didn't even mention, it was like 8 to 9 hour drives with frequent stops for the bathroom and for gas. And when we got the truck, we stopped even more frequently for the gas, because if any of you have ever rented a U-Haul truck, there's like a little, like on the driver's side, like a little, it looks like a speedometer thing, but it's about how much gas you're using, and you want to stay in the green, and if you're in the red, just like you're using more gas than you should. We're just trying to go, and we're going, the speed limit of 75, so we were getting gas more frequently. And so when we stopped in California, it was beautiful. The mountains tops were beautiful. Like it wasn't mountains like in Arizona, New Mexico mountains, or like Utah mountains. It was like greenery. Like it made me honestly think of the Sound of Music, when she's singing "The Hills Are Alive" with the Sound of Music. Like that whole green space, even though it's like in like Switzerland or whatever, it made me think of that with like, it's like rolling mountains and valleys and flowers, and it's just green. It's beautiful. And I took pictures, but these pictures doesn't do it justice. It was gorgeous. And then we stopped in our hotel in Irvine, and that hotel was nice. It was like a Marriott, some Marriott type of hotel. Jimmy picked it out. I have no idea, but it was such a nice hotel where I was like, can we just live here at this point? Just unpack everything. But we only had to stop in a hotel when we were in California, just because our apartment wasn't ready until the following day. So we were like, okay, we'll just stay in a hotel, kind of explore the area a little bit. And then the next day we drove to our city, to our apartment, and let me tell you, this whole road trip, it did change my life and made me have such mad respect for people who like military families and, you know, everyone who does road trips like this, because when you do a road trip for fun, it's less stressful. You just think about gas and everything. But when you do a road trip to move and you're the one towing your stuff, you didn't hire movers to do their own thing in their truck and you just drive in your car, like I have mad respect for every single person who has ever done this or will have to do this, because this is stressful. And it's like, I mean, it's fun, like don't get me wrong, I'm so grateful for this experience because I got to see our gorgeous country, like at least the southern part of it, because that's the trail we took, because it was kind of like winterish time, so if we went through the middle, it'd be kind of like snow in like Utah and stuff like that. But I'm so grateful to have seen it, to have seen the different states that we went through, how gorgeous it was, and just kind of get a little bit of a little taste of the culture almost in every single state, because we stopped so frequently for gas. So each city had its own little kind of vibe to it, but it was so cool. But definitely this road trip, because it was a moving road trip and it was just so many stressful factors going into it, has definitely changed my life for the better. And don't get me wrong, I truly miss my friends and my family back home. But you know what, at the end of the day, I don't know if us staying here in California is even going to be permanent. So I mean, at the end of the day, there's always, like, nothing is forever. We can always fly back home, or, well, not drive. I'm never doing cross-country trips again. But we can always fly back home like for holidays and whenever we can. But yeah, I mean, this road trip, definitely recommended to do it once in your life. Cross it off the bucket list of a cross-country road trip. And yeah, I mean, 5 days of my life were spent in a car or a truck, driving nonstop. And I want to give a huge shout out to my husband, because he drove the entire time. And I even offered, before we got the truck, don't get me wrong, I'm not driving a truck. Before we got the truck, I even offered to drive, and he said, no, I got it, because he knew I would be even more stressed. So God bless him. Shout out to you, Jimmy, for being an awesome driver this entire trip and getting us here safely. But yeah, that was the trip. It changed my life, Jimmy's life. Thankfully, we didn't have Max or any other animal with us, because that would have been one more headache and stress on top of that. But yeah, guys, so that does it for my very first story time on my channel. I hope you guys enjoyed. Make sure you hit that like button and comment down below on your, road trip adventures. Let me know what kind of experiences you've gone through, whether it was moving or an actual road trip. Just let me know. So I think it would be really fun to know what you guys have been through, if you guys went through something similar like I did. But make sure you also hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on videos every single Friday. And I will see you guys next week.